What if I told you that behind the cold, steel bars of Texas's most notorious prisons lies a world more terrifying than you could ever imagine? A world where violence isn't just a part of the system, it's the system itself. This isn't your typical prison story. What happens inside the walls of Texas's most dangerous prisons is far darker than anything the public has been told. You've heard the numbers: over 92 facilities, 135,000 inmates. But what you haven't heard is what happens when the lights go out. Behind the prison walls, justice is often lost in the chaos. And for the most dangerous criminals, punishment isn't the worst thing they face. Inside these walls, every day is a fight for survival, against each other, against the system, and sometimes against themselves. But there's more. Texas's prison system is in crisis, plagued by violence, corruption, and inhuman conditions. But what if these are just the surface-level issues? What if the real darkness is something we've never been allowed to see? In the next few minutes, we're going to uncover the shocking truth behind Texas's deadliest prisons, the stories that no one talks about, and the secrets that have been buried for decades. Hit like if you want to uncover the truth, subscribe to dive deeper into these hidden worlds, and share this video with anyone who thinks they know the real story behind prison life. Texas, a state that is both vast and brutal, where the land stretches endlessly, and the prisons, towering and cold, are the ultimate testament to the severity of its justice system. But behind the steel gates, the stories you hear are only a fraction of the truth. Texas is home to one of the largest and most dangerous prison systems in the world, with 92 facilities, over 135,000 inmates, and a workforce of more than 37,000 correctional officers. Yet despite its size and power, much of what happens behind those walls is a mystery. The system is a world of constant violence, corruption, and untold stories. A world that few people truly understand. According to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, or TDCJ, this system operates on a budget exceeding $3 billion a year. And yet, even with this vast infrastructure, the prisons are plagued with issues: overcrowding, brutality, and unchecked violence. But the real question is, what is happening inside these facilities that the public isn't being told? Let's begin our journey by diving into one of the most notorious and infamous prisons in Texas, the Huntsville Unit. Known primarily for its execution chamber, Huntsville is the site where the most dangerous criminals are put to death. It has become synonymous with death row in Texas, housing the state's most high-profile and dangerous inmates. Not only is Huntsville home to the most active execution chamber in the United States, but it's also a place where the violence inside its walls runs rampant. Over 570 executions have taken place here, each one marking a brutal end for criminals who had once ruled the streets and the underworld. One of the most chilling tales from Huntsville is that of Fred Carrasco, a ruthless drug kingpin who held the entire facility hostage for over 11 days in a bloody siege in 1974. Carrasco, along with his accomplices, took guards and staff members hostage, using them as shields in a desperate escape attempt. The siege ended in the deaths of 2 staff members, 2 inmates, and Carrasco himself. His story is one of the most violent chapters in the history of Huntsville. But the violence at Huntsville didn't end there. In fact, it became a regular part of life within these walls. According to Texas Tribune, numerous reports have detailed the rising violence between inmates, gang warfare, and daily physical assaults that plague this prison. It's a place where death is a constant presence, and it's not just confined to the execution chamber. Next, we move on to the Ellis Unit, a prison known for its notorious reputation, not only for housing death row inmates until 1999, but also for the sheer violence that took place within its walls. Ellis was the site of some of the deadliest events in Texas prison history. In 1981, a prisoner, Curtis Adams, brutally murdered Warden Oscar B. Ellis, a shocking act that raised alarms about the safety and control inside the prison. It's a grim reminder that even the ones in charge aren't safe in this brutal environment. But Ellis wasn't just known for this tragic act. It was also the site of some of the deadliest riots and fights between inmates. It was a prison where the concept of order was almost non-existent, and violence became a daily part of life. Among the infamous names tied to Ellis is Christopher Dunch, also known as Dr. Death, A former neurosurgeon, Dunch was sentenced to life after causing the deaths of over 30 patients. What makes his story even more chilling is the fact that he ended up in Ellis, a place where violence and death were a daily reality. His time at Ellis was a dark reminder of the extent to which even those with power can be destroyed by the very system they once served. Finally, we explore the Alfred D Hughes Unit, another high-security facility where some of the state's most violent offenders are held. Despite being a newer prison, Hughes has become infamous for its own dark history. In 1991, Henry Rodriguez was murdered in the prison yard, a victim of the lawless violence that pervades these facilities. Life at Hughes is defined by constant tension and brutality. The prison's layout, combined with overcrowding and minimal supervision, has led to a dangerous environment where fights break out on a regular basis. For many inmates, Hughes is the last place they'll ever see, fighting for their lives every day just to stay alive in a system that seems to care little for their existence. But it's not just about the violence and the crimes that occur within these walls. It's about the people behind the violence. The stories of men like Fred Carrasco and John Wesley Hardin, two men who became infamous not just for their crimes, but for what happened to them inside these prisons. Hardin, once known as one of the deadliest outlaws of the American West, found himself behind bars at Huntsville. Despite claiming to have killed 42 people, Hardin's time in prison revealed a different side of him. He began teaching Sunday school and even wrote his autobiography. Was this a true transformation? Or was it simply a survival mechanism in a system designed to break people? Hardin's story is just one example of how the prison system in Texas shapes the men inside it. Some are broken by the violence, others try to redeem themselves, and some, like Carrasco, use the system's chaos to their advantage. The stories of these men, their violence, and their transformation inside Texas's brutal prison system are a reflection of the darkest parts of human nature. But what happens when the system itself becomes a breeding ground for the monsters it creates? What does it mean for a person's soul when the prison system is both their punishment and their prison? As we continue, we'll uncover more untold stories, more darkness lurking behind these prison walls. Because the truth is, what you know about Texas prisons is only scratching the surface. In the end, the biggest question remains: does the Texas prison system truly serve justice? Or is it merely part of a larger system that we've come to accept, but never fully question? Are these dangerous criminals capable of redemption? Or are they simply a burden on society, left to rot behind bars? Does the system we've created help heal or destroy? And in the face of overwhelming violence and corruption, what does justice really mean? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves, not just about Texas, but about the prison systems across the world. Are we truly seeking rehabilitation, or are we only seeking to lock people away and forget about them? And if you're compelled to keep uncovering hidden truths, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story that was never meant to be told. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.